Beautiful day as always. First of all, you got to be grateful to our Maker for giving us the opportunity, the cognition, the health, all of that stuff to always be able to come and share this knowledge. Like you said, accentuate the positive and dialogue. Looking forward to the conversation. I think we have set the bar real high in previous discussion, so people only looking to expect more of the same. It's been a good week so
Yes,
far, brother.
yes, indeed. It's been a steady progress for us. Um, we've been listening to our guests, our followers about, what we're doing here.
Yeah.
We intend to always put forth positive ideas and mantras and keep the conversation of growth going on, especially when it comes to our dear Liberia. Well, if I didn't say it, ladies and gentlemen, today will be a very interesting episode. So we have with us, or will be joining us later on, Mr. Henry Pedro Costa. A lot of you are familiar with that name. And today we're just going to have a very candid, open chat with Mr. Costa. We're going to talk about all things Liberia. We're going to talk about the people, the investment and business atmosphere. We'll also be talking a little bit about youth and sports, which is, of course, one of our favorite things to talk about here. And yeah, it's going to be a rounded, very rounded conversation. We're going to try to make it laid back, friendly, engaging, and Pittman, I think for me, I just want to pick this young man's brain. I call him a young man because he's my younger brother. But I just want to pick his brain and just understand from his perspective, how he feels about Liberia, where we're headed, and yeah, the future. So
Yeah.
with that, I'm going to bring him on, and then we can get the ball rolling.
Let's rock.
Yes. Anyway,
Hey, what's up?
how
What's
you
up,
doing, my
guys?
man? How you doing?
I am
Can you
doing
hear us?
fantastic. Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
The man,
Yeah.
I changed the logo. I tell you.
Yeah, I see you got one of those sophisticated glasses.
My man, ain't nothing sophisticated
Yeah.
about it. It's just very practical, I would say. More practical than sophisticated.
You know,
Well,
a
Dr.
lot,
Kennedy, what's up, man?
hey, a lot of times, right, when people ready to shift, whether it's
Mm,
trajectory or the
mm,
direction, they use
uh,
some type of symbol like grow beard or shave beard. Or I know years ago I was going through a traumatic change in my life. I cut it all
yeah.
off. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Renewed
Why do
embodiment.
people?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's you are right. Why do people do that? Sometimes you just want to switch up. You just want to look different,
Yeah.
and maybe to suit the particular face.
Well, I
Uh,
think I think it's a mental thing. I think people feel like, okay, if I'm going through something, and you got to find ways to motivate yourself. Kenneth,
uh,
Pittman, you should know about that. I mean,
Yeah.
athletes, we find
Oh
all
yeah.
kinds of
Oh
stuff.
yeah. Yeah.
You do all kinds of things to motivate yourself. But hey, Henry, like I said, man, welcome to the podcast. This is our 7th edition. We've been on a steady roll, trying to talk about all things Liberia, um, and just trying to accentuate the positive, man. Just bring people back to the idea and notion that as Liberians, we can all work together despite our differences. We can all work together. We can bring forth the best of our ideas and the best of ourselves, and make our country better. So that's what we do here. That's what we do here. But hey, I got a long list of bullet points here that I wanted to read through concerning your the man Henry Costa. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I decided I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let you do that yourself. So we're going to make just go around the horn. I'm your host, New Manning Walker. Of course, I'm here every Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. Just talking Liberia, the greatness of Liberia, the people, our brightest and best, and just finding ways, man, finding ways and ideas that we can all talk about to move our country forward. Pittman, I'll throw it over to you, and then we can go over to Henry.
Well, for me, I live down in San Antonio from Liberia. For me, retired military, doing Sweat Equity, which is an organization dedicated to providing holistic development to our young people in the areas of athletics, academics, character building, and I believe that we can achieve successful young people, outcomes outside of the political lines and still move the country forward. We can make a difference outside of politics. And I mean, politics sometimes almost inescapable, but if you are determined and intentional, you can move things forward. So I'm excited to be here, and having our brother on. This man don't need no introduction, but still we're having so over to you.
Yeah.
Pedro.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys. It's a wonderful pleasure to be here. I have followed the show, and very interesting, and is what I would call a refreshing break from the normal humdrum political discourse. What you guys do. I like that. Very refreshing. Sometimes you just have enough of politics. You want to hear other very professional, sophisticated minds speak about other things that are necessarily not political. Positive things, but not political. That is why I like this show. What you guys do. So when the invitation was extended, I was very honored by it and pleased, and I look forward to having a fantastic time with you guys tonight.
Thank you very much. And with that, we'll go on to our brother Leo. Hey, Leo, what's up, man? What's going on in Canada?
It's cold, but it's going all right.
I was going to ask you how the weather, but then he beat me to it.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's super cold down here in Minnesota as well. I need not explain what happens here in Minnesota. I think a lot of people know. But hey, Leo, go ahead, man. Say hi to your people, and then let's get this conversation started.
Yeah, good to see you, Dr. Kennedy, as well, and Henry. Good to see you as well. It's been a while. Thank you. It's great to be on. I look forward to hearing, learning, and exploring as well as we get into the conversation.
Yes. And with that, man, hey, let's just dive right in. So, we've been on this journey as a people, Liberia, this beautiful country on the west coast of Africa. We've had our highs and lows. I mean, I'm not gonna waste your time or just keep this thing dull by explaining Liberian history. But in a nutshell, the country, we've been through a lot. And personally, I feel like one of the best things that could ever happen to Liberia will probably be this mass exodus of people from the diaspora, going back home to help in the development of the country. So to kick the conversation off, I wanted to just take a time, maybe over the next 15, 20 minutes. Let's talk about Liberia, the people. What is Liberia? What is us? What makes us unique? Where are we headed? Who are we? That's the conversation. And with that, Dr. Kennedy, I'll let you go first. Who are we as a people?
Overall resilient, very resilient, courageous, and hopeful. Sum it up in that three. You could go with so many adjectives, but I think our resilient come atop because our people they have that innate ability that intestinal fortitude to just keep going no matter what barriers, obstacles, roadblocks, hills and valleys, or we just persevere. So at some point in time, just the goal is just to strike that match. That would be a perfect marriage to move our people forward. But they have that. We have that resilient spirit, in my opinion.
Great observation.
That's the word to, yeah.
Let's go to Leo. Leo, who are we, man? When we look at Liberia, a country,
Yeah.
the people.
You know, I would say there is something very dynamic about Liberia in and of itself. First of all, our history sets us apart in many different ways. And they say the thing that always hurts you is the one that always makes you, if you pay attention. What hurts you, if you manage to get through the hurt and overcome it, it's the same place you draw strength. And I think the history of Liberia is one that sets Liberia apart. If you go to Ghana, Nigeria, all these countries I've been to, there's a kind of cloning that happened as a result of the innate colonialism that happened over such a long period of time. So you almost see them trying to mimic certain things, good or bad, because it's what it was. If you see Liberia, there's a mixture of everything, to the point where there's almost this kind of attitude that no matter what you throw at me, I'm never fazed by it. Like Liberians will go do what they got to do no matter what. And I think it's a strength because none of us are trying to cling on to something I can't leave because this is what the colonizers left for me or whatever that I have to hold. And like Dr. Kennedy said, I think resilience is one of the things that come out of it. But exploration. Liberia has always been a bold, brave country, willing to step in places that other countries would be more like very careful or feel like they can't go there. Liberians will go there. And our history will tell you some of the people that have emerged in what is our body politics or in other forms of leadership, whether it was Doris Banks-Henry's, right, Angie Brooks Randolph, Ellen Johnson's leave. You can go down the line. This is not a recent trajectory that we've stepped in very bold places. And even with younger generations, say or not, I can remember even Henry Costadas on here when they were talking about talk show business when people did not even know much about what talk show was. Henry Costa was on the airwaves those days. That's the only one, not just in Liberia, by and large, on social media, it was a phenomenal around here. So I think, I would say Liberians are very bold and brave people that are willing to step in places that other countries or other people usually would dare not venture because they don't believe it's a place for them.
And with that, let's go over to our guest, Henry. Henry, what do you say, man? What do you say about this question? Who are we, Liberia? Who are we as a people?
Well, beautifully put there by both Pittman and Leo. Just basically complimenting each other about what you said. Liberians are to borrow Dr. Kennedy's words, a very resilient people. How is it that a country with so much lack and so few opportunities, yet its people find a way to always wear a smile, to always lift their heads high? And sometimes I think our tenacious spirit can also be a setback because we're so resilient and we're so tenacious to the point where it looks as though we become comfortable in our reality. Because it's a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. Like Leo said, the thing that hurts you can also be the souls from which you can draw inspiration to drive yourself forward. So on one hand, we're this wonderful, amazing people. We know how to get our head high. This is a country with so very few people who are supposed to be working aren't working. This is a country where people go to college, graduate, or go to a trade school, get a diploma or a certificate in something, and they can't find work. But Leo would tell you he works there. So would Dr. Kennedy. They have amazing projects there. But whenever you go to the country, you see these young people, especially young people, they are beaming with smiles. They cling on to little opportunities that come their way. They are so hopeful. So we are, in a nutshell, a super, ultra resilient, tenacious people. And sometimes it just dumbfounds me, and that is a good thing because we can tap into that. All we need to do is to find a way to mobilize that hope and that optimism and that massive pool of youthful energy and exploit it and unleash it. Liberia would be a force to be reckoned with if we did that. I think that is what we need. We need to find commonality of purpose. The whole country needs to have a conversation and say, this is where we are, and this is where we can go, and this is how we can go there, and rally the whole country behind that. That is what we need to do. Once we get that right, we will become that which we ought to be and that which we can be.
Totally.
I like to buttress that a little bit.
Go ahead, Doc.
What we have described here is something that I'm so fond of, positive attitude. I think that is what encapsulates our people, right? We have positive attitude because a resilient spirit is contagious to positive attitude. And with that, it's like waiting for some level of ignition to become combustible, right? And like he said, to what cluster points is, right? They're always waiting for that opportunity, that pathway, that direction, that sense of bringing together. Say, look, with the attitudes that we have, the positive spirit, the energy, the enthusiasm, we have to do more, and we can do more. So yeah, I just wanted to buttress this point. That attitude, that positive attitude, it's a bedrock that we have.
Nice. No, I like that. But with that, let me ask another very important question. I think we can all agree that Liberians are resilient people because we're all here Liberians. We our life in itself shows that indeed we are resilient people. But let me take this a step further and ask this question: what is that one thing? All right, what is that one thing other than because resiliency? I don't know if it's something that you can observe, right? But what is that physical, I would say, symbol or whatever it is, whether it's clothes, it's food, or whatever? What is that one thing that when people that we can look to and say, okay, this is 100% Liberian? Anybody can take that. So is it our food?
I would say, and here's where I want you to go at this. I think it's the way we conduct ourselves. I think it's unique. I'll give you an example. I was in Abidjan. I was sitting, there was something about the aura that we carry. I usually say, Liberians don't give a damn, right? That's the kind of attitude. Liberians can be somewhere and somebody can, in other countries I go out when a big person shows up, and everybody is like, whether it's Ghana or Nigeria, there's a cultural kind of thing. Everybody is like in this very humble beat down because a big person is around. Liberians have this attitude when they're doing their thing, as long as they're in your space and you're not intruding, it doesn't matter who can show up. The president of the country can show up, they will relax. Or even if you're in a restaurant eating in other countries, when a big person shows up, you realize that everybody repositioned. I was in Abidjan sitting on the line, waiting for something. This gentleman showed up randomly. And this gentleman was able to pick me out of 50-something people on that line and walk up straight to me and say, "You are Liberian." And I'm looking at him going like, okay, what are the odds that all of the people on this line, and I wasn't dressing any particular, clear symbol to say I was wearing a Liberian flag or something for you to know. I was just normally dressed as everybody else. I think there's an aura of, I don't know if you call it boldness about us, but the aura, the way we conduct ourselves. The Liberians exude that. I can pick out a Liberian in a line of people just by how they approach certain things. But I also think something we overlook. This language that has developed, that we like to call colloquial, that we laugh at it all the time, we talk about it, is powerful and unique in a certain way. And I know, we treat it casually because they say the thing you got sometimes, your own thing, you don't really look at it, you don't really pay more attention to it. But it's powerful and unique because it's become a uniting force, given that we don't have one. Go ahead.
Well, let me hold you there, Leo. And the reason why I want to hold you there is because I've been in settings, especially here in the US, where Liberians will start to talk and other Liberians will feel embarrassed. They will be like, oh, why can't Latin men talking? I think the people can understand AL, why the men can't speak series, So why do you think we actually cherish and appreciate the way we talk?
Now, there are two sides to it, right? You can have something and don't care about it. That's one thing. You can actually have something very valuable and don't even realize you have it. And I will go to something that Costa said, that we've become so nonchalant about some of the things that we have that we don't even realize that is there. Or at the same time, we've become so lackadaisical about it that we're just there. Like, it's almost like, why are you not paying attention to certain things? So I would say to you, even the Liberians who complain that the people don't understand what the man saying can be speaking colloquial while they're saying it. Why are you criticizing the man for speaking colloquial? You speaking colloquial and criticizing. So it tells you that there is something innately, there's a cognitive dissonance, that you don't realize that this thing flows out of you naturally, but because you have not elevated it, right? You have not given it the prominence that it deserves. You think you're doing yourself a disfavor because you're in a certain place and you want, let me put it this way. You're trying to be everything else except yourself. Like, at some point, you have to embrace who. I tell people all the time, the Ghanaians are the Ghanaians. Their story is different. Nigerians are Nigerians. Their story is different. Liberians are Liberians. Our story is different. The only reason why Nigerian pidgin English all of a sudden is becoming a big thing because they don't fool around with it. They hold it. When a Nigerian man says here and talk, you will know this is a Nigerian man talking. It's up to you to try and understand it or to not understand it. Even in their music, it doesn't matter which audience they're singing for. They embrace it. And so for us, I would say, do we embrace it enough or do we elevate it enough? That's a question. But it's natural that every Liberian at some point gets down to that colloquial point. Unless where you were born outside Liberia and never went there at all.
All right, let's go to you, Dr. Kennedy. What do you think? What says you about that? Do you think, because sometimes, and let me add to this. Sometimes I hear Liberian music, right? And then I hear other Liberians saying, "Oh, these people gotta make the music better." You know, I don't think the music can go anywhere if they're singing like this. You know, if we're singing in the local parlance, you know, in our colloquial, and some people feel that, oh, the music is not going to go anywhere because of the way they are singing. You know, they need to sing better. But when I look to Nigeria, I look to Ghana, I see other places, they're doing the exact same thing, and this music is going worldwide. So what do you say to that? How do you think we can show a lot more appreciation for what we have so that we as a people can continue to stand out?
That's a double-edged sword for me. Damn if you do, damn if you don't. We appreciate it to ourselves sometimes and when we want to. And then other times, in other instances, we are the same one that condemn it, depending on where we at. So we in a Liberian setting, we wear ourselves out to one particular song. We come outside of that, would be the same people that said, well, that song does not fit out there because guess what? Only is limited to us. But to even push that a little further, when you compare it to like the Nigerians and stuff, you got to consider the proportions as well, the numbers, the population, and the amount of contributors that support it. So that helps when it comes to music. But for me, I would look at the uniqueness of our food. I think hands down, we have one of the best recipes, you know, and on the continent, if not the best. And I've eaten from several other countries. So that's one thing I always sell because, in fact, just yesterday I was having a conversation with a colleague of mine here, a non-Liberian, and I said it takes that first time. That's it. You know, you go to Liberia the first time and you fall in love with it, not only for the food, but the food is something that they gravitate to, and then they come back and they'll say, "Hey, I want cassava leaf." That or sometimes they can't even pronounce it well, but they will try to describe it to you. And so the uniqueness of our food is like a magnet that when people taste it, they want more. So I think, like, you know, to Costa's point earlier, I don't know if we appreciate the uniqueness that we have. And sometimes it's too ignorant. We just don't know. You don't know what you don't know. But some of us that have exposed ourselves globally, we have that consciousness now to draw the lines of, to erase the line of limitation in our culture, the things that make us unique. Everything from the personalities to the food, to the music, to everything that we are as Liberians, you know. And some of us are very proud to be the flag and the ambassadors in anywhere we go. I was on a cruise ship with the Jamaicans. They got a cruise called Love and Harmony, and it goes from Florida down to Jamaica and then the Bahamas, and it's all Caribbeans. And I was very proud when the announcer came to say, hey, out of 2,000 people, I'm the only Liberian here, representing not only Liberia, but the continent. I had the flag with me as well, so, and it draws people's curiosity. What is Liberia? Because some people don't know. And then you got the opportunity to kind of provide some type of historic education, or contextual education, so if I may. And so there's no boundaries, there's no limitations as to who we are and who we can be. I point it over to Henry, see what his views on.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. We're a pretty unique people. Our culture is an infusion of authentic African heritage and African American values. It's a fusion, Some of our foods are inspired by African American culture, and whereas some of our foods are authentically African and Liberian. And I always say this to myself, you know, imagine what it would be if Liberian foods were promoted in this country. If people just got to really know just how amazing Liberian food is, Liberian cuisine. I mean, this could be a huge money maker for us. Take Liberian jollof, for example.
Yeah.
All that nonsense they call jollof, Ghanaian, Nigerian jollof. That's a bunch of tomato and rice. It's tasteless. No offense to our Nigerian. I love some Nigerian foods. Don't get me wrong. I love the eba, the igusi. But when they come to jollof, I just find it ridiculously offensive for them to try to, compare, to claim to have the best jollof. Yeah, Senegalese invented it, but I think Liberians perfected it and Liberianized it. If you gave Liberian jollof to a Senegalese, man, they will be wondering whether they ever had whether their recipe was wrong,
Yeah, I've
or
heard that.
along.
I've heard that before.
Yeah. So what I think about us is that we just need greater exposure. And as Dr. Kennedy said, one of the problems we have as a country, when you have such a small population, it can be a blessing. It can also be a curse. It's hard to grow when you are so few. Take Nigerians, for example, 230 million people at home. Imagine like the Nigerian diaspora. There was some stat that I read. I think out of every 10 black men out there, Black African, 3 are Nigerian.